brother Baya coming at you from A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. What I'm here to tell y'all today is that we got to be more aware of what's going on in our life, what's going on in our communities, what's going on with our people. We got to be more aware of what's going on with ourselves and what we doing. Let me give you something to think about. Now we know about the Karen situations. We know what Karens are. We know who they supposed to be. And our people don't have no love for nobody like that, who would pick up the phone and try to call and get somebody in some type of situation, knowing damn well they wouldn't do that to their own people for the most part. They may do it sometime, but we know who their victims usually are. What they go say when they pick their phone up, they go call 911, they go call the police, they go make all kind of lying, false accusations, and then when the police show up, they go start crying, and they might start crying with the dispatch, with the whoever pick up the phone, which make the phone call to the police. You might start crying then. And then when they get found out, they get the spotlight put on them and get exposed for being who they are. And then the public sometimes want to take their side and sympathize with them. And then we left looking around like, when they gonna stop doing this? And we know that's a condition from our being in sin, being in captivity over here in the hands of our enemies. We understand what that is. But that's not the real purpose of me talking to you right now. The real purpose is, we know that we don't like these things when they happen to us. We know that. But I want y'all to understand, pay attention to this right here. If we don't like it when that kind of thing happens to us, then why is it that our sisters tend to be that same Karen when it comes down to dealing with the brothers in the nation of Israel? Why is it that our sisters, we want to be the Karen when it comes to calling the police on members of our own families? When it comes down to calling the police on so-called black men, just like the original Karens be doing. We got a problem when the original Karens do it, but then our sisters are known for doing the same thing, and they should be exposed as being Karens, just like the white women, when they do it, are exposed as being so-called Karens, or Megans, or Blanche, or whatever her name is. We got a problem when they do it and they get called Karen. But when the sisters do it, it's not a problem then all of a sudden. It's acceptable. It's okay. No, you're the same thing as when the Edomite women do it. You're the same thing. You're being the same way. You're modeling yourself after her. And the first thing you do, the second you get an attitude, or the second you feel like you're not getting things your way, you act just like your role model. And you pick up the phone and you make all kind of wild accusations. You make phone calls. You accuse somebody of doing something that they didn't even do, or saying something that they didn't even say. But all of a sudden, it's not being a Karen no more. All of a sudden, how is it not being a Karen all of a sudden? It's being carried out by some Christian-minded woman who hates brothers. What's the difference? If you're gonna have an issue with Karen, then you ought to have an issue with yourself when you do. Our people ought to have an issue with you just like we have an issue with anybody else when they do. Stop that kind of behavior. Stop doing that. You're destroying your nation of people. Change your mind frame. Change your mindset. Stop looking at the Edomites as your role models. Stop looking at them as your role models. Stop being a Karen. Who are your role models? Your role models are the sisters of the scriptures. Well, let me rephrase that. Your role models should be the sisters of the scriptures. We're going to start off with some bad examples. We're going to look in the scriptures and find some bad examples. Then we're going to find some good examples of what you need to be aspiring towards, sisters. For one thing, get that notion out of your head that you some kind of queen. You ain't no queen unless your husband was an actual king. Unless your husband was a king who kept these commandments. He could be a brother who just keeping the commandments. That'll make him a king. If your husband was not keeping the commandments, then he wasn't no real king. If you want to fight for the Most High, then your husband was not a king. Now, if your husband has died and your son is now in rulership, he may be too young to actually do anything without still having guidance. He's still being raised actually. And his father dies while he's still somewhat of a child, then you may be called queen at that point. If you continuing in the commandments, and he continuing in the commandments. You may be called queen, but understand that your son can remove you from that position. If you fail to keep the commands, he can remove you from that position if you into Christianity, idolatry, witchcraft. He could take that position away from you. This is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 16. And also concerning Micaiah, the mother of Asa, the king, he removed her from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asa cut down her idol and stamped it and burnt it at the brook Kidron. See that? So if your son is actually the king, he can remove you from being queen. I think this is dealing with his brother's grandmother. I think she was actually, it says his mother, but it might be his actual grandmother in this case. So a queen could be the king's mother or his grandmother. See? Only time our sisters was called queen was when our sisters married heathens, was forced into a marriage with a heathen. Then the sister was called queen. But when the sister is married to her husband, he's a king, she's called wife. She's called wife. Our sisters are called queen when people marry our sisters who are heathens. People outside of the nation of Israel see our sisters as being whores, so they get that title of queen. That's when you see a sister with the title of queen. Her husband is not keeping the commandments. Her husband is not even of the nation of Israel. He's a heathen. she was forced into that marriage due to disobedience through our nation of people not keeping God's commandments. So we was put into slavery, and these other people ruling over our women, taking our women from us and giving them a title of queen, which ain't nothing but a damn whore. So you're a whore in the other nation's eyesight. Another instance where people get called queen that's dealing with our people is if one of our brothers marry a woman who's not even of the nation of Israel. Just like one of our brothers married Jezebel. She was being called queen. She was called queen. She wasn't of the nation of Israel. That's our brother messing around with somebody who's not even our people. End up being called queen. And that's the reason why our sisters act like these other nations of people, want to call the police on our people, want to act like them and be like them because we thinking we them. We taking on their titles. Just like our people ain't supposed to be called queen, our people ain't even supposed to be called lady. Where we get that lady stuff from. Every time you see something in the scripture talking about a lady, again, it was talking about the other nations of people. It was not talking about our people. It was not talking about our sisters. So now our sisters want to act like the Karens. They're taking on the persona of the other nations. They want to act like the other nations. Understand, sister, you're a sister, you're a wife, you're a daughter, you're a mother. Those are the things that you are. And if I left one of them out, excuse that. But you're not no queen, you ain't no lady. Remember, you ain't no queen, you ain't no lady. If you can remember that, you'll probably stop acting like them damn Karens out there. If you can remember that. Yeah, let's look at book of 2 Kings chapter 10 verse 13. Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, "Who are ye?" And they answered, "We are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen." Could have been talking about Jezebel. It's not exactly positive sure if they was thinking Jezebel was still living and was referring to her as a queen, or they was referring to somebody as a queen dealing with the nation of Israel, and them brothers put their ass to death. They don't play that. Alright? They say take them alive and kill them. And we don't go around assigning queens to our sisters. It got to be some strange set of circumstances for her to be a queen. Like I said, either her husband dead and her son running things, or her grandson running things, or something like that. Or she married to some non-Israelite, some evil man who ain't keeping no commandments, calling her a queen. It's something out of the ordinary that is not supposed to be happening going on. Now I know I said something about that lady thing too. Now we're gonna look at the book of we're gonna start off with this. This is 2 John. The entire 2 John. To the elder unto the elect lady and her children. Who is that? Who is that? Ain't no name. It's not really explaining who that is. For all we know, that could be the entire nation of Israel. This could be addressed to the entire nation of Israel. Letting us know our sinful people need to get in line, get back in line with these scriptures. Come back to doing what we supposed to be doing. And this letter may be referring to us as that lady who coming out of that sinful mindset, that sinful mind frame, who's going to get themselves back right again. That could be what this is talking about. Because it ain't telling you who that lady is. It's not telling us nothing. Could be referring to our entire nation coming back to keeping God's commandments. That might be what this is referring to right here. That wicked woman, nation of Israel, who gonna come back to doing what we supposed to be doing. That might be what this is talking about. I just found something too. Let me bring this up right quick. This is book of 2 Chronicles. This dealing with the wives. This dealing with the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 13 verse 21. And Abiah waxed mighty and married 14 wives and begat 20 and 2 sons and 16 daughters. Ain't said nothing about he got 14 queens. He said 14 wives. See, that was dealing with I think that was Solomon's grandson, if I'm not mistaken. He begat he had 14 wives. He waxed great. He ain't say nothing about no queens in here. Let's look at this right here. I just spotted this. Let me just go and grab this up. This is a book of 2 Chronicles chapter 9, starting at the beginning. 2 Chronicles chapter 9. And when the queen of Sheba heard the fame of Solomon, she came to prove Solomon with hard questions. See that? The queen of Sheba, that's another woman of another nation, an outlandish woman. They're queens. And when we read these things about queens and everything, we thinking everything's supposed to refer to us. No, it don't refer to us. It's talking about the other nations of people. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the word ladies. We'll take a look at that. Again, we're going to go to Book of Judges chapter 5 verse 29. The mother of Sisera looked out at a window and cried through the lattice, why is his chariot so long in coming? Now this man Sisera, this is not an Israelite. This was not an Israelite. This is somebody who was going to come up against us and fight against us. Verse 29. Her wise ladies answered her, yea, her wise ladies. But again, women of the other nations, not our sisters. Not our sisters. This is referring to other nations of people, what they call themselves, not what God calls us, not what we're supposed to be calling ourselves and each other. If you're looking at the book of Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 5, again, it talks about this lady thing again. Again, it's talking about some shameful people who not our people, who do whatever they can to oppress us. Those are your ladies. Those who do what they can to oppress us, to rule over us, to keep us away from keeping God's commandments so that we could continually be punished by God, our enemies. That's who your ladies are. There's Isaiah 47 and verse 5. Isaiah 47 verse 5. It's talking about something that we should not aspire to. Stop calling your daughters ladies. Stop calling them little girls little ladies and all this old crap. That's not us. We ain't about that. If you want to look at some sisters to be like, you can look at Sarah. That's Abraham's wife. Okay, you can look at her. You can look at Rachel. You can look at Leah. You can look at Deborah. But Deborah, you can look at her. For women to aspire to be like. These are your role models. Look at the sisters in the scriptures who revere and reverencing their husbands, who teaching their children correctly according to the scriptures, who understand that the husband is the head of the household. Look at these women in the scriptures. Be like them. Those are your role models. Stop taking on all these attributes of ladies and queens, because the only thing you're doing is taking on the attributes of our oppressors. You're taking on the attributes of that Karen, that we hear so much about in the news. Get that Karen spirit off you. Get that Easter spirit off you. Get that queen spirit, that lady spirit off of you. Because queens and ladies don't keep no commandments. They don't lead their household according to how their husband set forth. They don't follow that. They get their role models off sitcoms. That's where y'all get y'all role models from. Off sitcoms and movies where men dress up like women, act like women. That's where y'all get y'all role models from. So get yourself together. My name Brother A.O.I. I'm here to bring the word to my people. The Black, Native American, Hispanics, so of indigenous descent. Get yourself together. So-called Hispanic, of indigenous descent, Native Americans. Get yourself together. The black man, black woman, black child. Get yourself together. Israelites. That's who you are. Get yourself together. And trim all the fat. Trim the lard out of our society. Kwam Yasha.